New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Why, hello there. It's me, yes, me, Bonnie Gonzalez, your doula for grief. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good whatever time you're watching. It's just good to have you here. And I just want you to give yourself a pat on the back for tuning in to something that can really help you, tuning into a program that is truly designed to be and for about you, to help you navigate the choppy waters of grief. So before we get started, why don't you just get comfortable, get yourself a cup of tea, cup of water. If it's wine time, do that as well. And make this next hour for you, personalizing it for you. If this is your first time joining me, I just want to assure you that you have come to the right place to begin your healing journey from grief. And if you're returning, I am honored that we have that kind of relationship. So just drop a comment in the comment box or ask a question. We'd love to know that you're out there watching. And even if you're watching this on the replay and have a question, still put your question in. I still receive those questions. So know that it's never too late. And so with that said, again, welcome. And I want to just take a few minutes to distinguish, as I always do, what grief is all about. And grief is caused by loss. Loss is what we experience, and grief is what we then feel. And losses are not limited to the death of a loved one, even though that is the biggest hole you'll ever have blown through your heart, is the loss of a loved one, friend. That is the biggest. Yes, we honor that. We honor death as the biggest loss. But there are also other losses. What about friendships that end? What about divorces that happen? Let's count in a geographical move. I'm definitely still navigating that, the loss of the geographical move caused such a loss of friendships and loss of what's familiar for me. So the list goes on. How about surgery? How about loss of health? Aging is a loss. The list can just go on and on. But know that those are losses that then put us into grief. And those emotions of grief, of sadness, longing and yearning, the feeling of just being totally confused, not understanding what's even going on in your own world. Those are just that's just the tip of the iceberg of emotions that loss puts us into, that grief. Those emotions are vast. And remember too, that none of us grieve in the same way. There's no cookie cutter recipe of how to heal our grief. What heals our grief is listening to ourselves, tuning in to ourselves to ask, what do we need at this time? And I always say the three pillars of grieving or healing our grief, three vital columns, pillars. The first is that grief needs to be heard. Yes, you need to talk about it. Grief needs to be shared. Yes, sharing it with others. And then grief needs to be validated. For some reason, we need to hear that. Yes, it is okay. Yes, I can understand how you could have those feelings. So, with those three components, we can start to move, we can start to navigate back to the life that we want and desire and so worthy of having. And before I move any further into our show today, I want to dedicate this show today to a dear friend of mine. Her name is Judy Henderson, and her mother, Doris Henderson, transitioned yesterday. So we want to devote this program to the Henderson family as they, release Doris. And my words about death is this: death is the birth into our next existence. There definitely is no ending. It is the birth into our next existence. And so sending prayers to the Henderson family for comfort and ease as they move through this really difficult time. So thank you. Okay. So with that, today, our theme, Joe, could you put our theme up for today? If Joe doesn't put it up, I do remember it. It's healing our grief with angels, or how angels help us heal our grief. So with that, I have I've never had a real fascination with angels, but I just hear so much about angels. I remember Matthew Fox. I don't know if you know him, a Dominican priest that was excommunicated some years back, but now he's back on the scene sharing his wise wisdom. But he was saying that we really need to call on angels to help us through our daily lives. And it was so funny because he said, if there was a union hall for angels, there would be a lot of unemployed angels right now. And he was asking us to call on angels for assistance in our lives. And so that's why we have my guest here today, Jack Irish, Healing from Grief with the Angels is what our title is. And I was going to say, I met Jack at a spiritual gathering. Yes, I'll put it that way. A spiritual gathering. And he just happened to start talking about making angels and how many stories he has heard from people about angels. So I thought, well, I'm no angel expert, so why don't I get an angel expert and dive into a different topic today, but not different as far as grief goes, but having another tool that we can use to help heal our grief, or another assistant, another guide, another way. So with that, I would just like to bring out my guest, Jack Irish. I'll call him Angel Expert Jack Irish. Good afternoon, Jack. Thank you for your yes. Thank you for being here. You want to take down Jack's email, because I'm sure you'll probably have questions after this program ends. You'll have questions that you'll want to send to Jack, or you can send them to me and I can forward them on to Jack. So Jack, good afternoon. And I am just going to dive right into our topic of angels. And so I want to know, Jack, how did you get started with angels? And tell us what you do with the angels, as far as making them, that is.
Okay, well, I don't know if you call me an expert or not, but I've been dealing with it for a long time with angels. And I think I'll start off, I'm going to read something. I made a little brochure up years ago with my angels. The front part of it, this is about angels. Since ancient times, mankind has been intrigued by the angels, these awe-inspiring, luminous beings, forever somewhere between God and man in their flight through spirit, imagination, and possibly the sky. I believe that angels have guided us since the beginning of time and over the years. I've learned that sometimes they also push us to do what is meant to be. 1978, I had a divine inspiration that was guided by grace, beauty, and might of the archangels to create the Guardian Angel Collection. Angels represent free will, love, and kindness, and are found in the writing in all major religions and are non-denominational. And that's very, very important.
Could you read just that last sentence again? Just the last sentence.
It says, angels represent free will, love, and kindness, and are found in the writing of all major religions and are non-denominational.
Beautiful, beautiful.
For instance, Gabriel is the archangel, and Gabriel gave the message to Mary about the birth of Jesus. He also gave a message to Buddha's mother about the birth of Buddha.
No, that I haven't.
And he also dictated the Quran to Muhammad.
Wow, Jack, I did not know that. I mean, that's major religions you're talking about. Christianity, Muslim, Buddhism. They all have been affected by angels, or the guardian angel, or archangel, correct?
Yeah, there were 7 archangels. When I first started making them, I knew Gabriel, of course. Gabriel has his trumpet, which blows the horn. And I started researching, and I came across the book of Enoch. And the book of Enoch is the first mention anywhere of the archangels. And it came up with the archangels, which are Gabriel, Raphael. Raphael is God's healer. Sariel is we call the angel of celebration.
Okay.
Ramiel is the angel that welcomes us to heaven.
Oh.
And Uriel is called the Lion of God. And then there's Uriel with the other. I can't remember the last one. Anyway.
It doesn't start with an M, Matrion?
Sorry, right. The big one, Michael. How could I forget Michael?
Oh,
Michael,
no.
Michael's God's warrior. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And can I just ask you, what does archangel mean? Archangel versus a regular angel, or?
They're just a higher. It's just a higher realm of angels. That's all. It's the 7 archangels, which are head of the whole. Each one has its own little part in heaven and their own duty. Like as I say, there's also an angel called Ariel. And Ariel is part of Raphael. Raphael is God's healer. And Ariel is also part of the healer, but Ariel is mainly healing children and looking after children.
The angel of children.
Right.
So you said that you were guided to make an angel. You were guided to make angels.
Yeah. I started off. I'll go back real quick. I was a meat broker at the time. International meat brokers buying and selling meat around the world.
Okay.
It was like a stockbroker. So I had phones in my ear all day long, and I come home and I'm just totally rattled. I needed. And my wife, I always loved stained glass, so my wife signed me up for stained glass classes at the local college.
Okay.
So I started taking stained glass classes. And when you're doing that, you're concentrating on cutting the glass and concentrating on soldering of the glass. So your whole mind is concentration on that. So everything it's gone. So it was really great, relaxing for me. It was wonderful. And I started making angels and making different little sunglass, little sun catchers and dogs and all sort of things. And then somebody gave me a porcelain angel holding a hymn book. And I could do something with that. So I made a 3-dimensional stained glass angel with this thing. And I made a couple of them. And my friend says, "Oh, they're really kind of nice. I'm doing a craft show. Can you make a few for me? And I'll take them to the craft show." So I did. And they sold out. Well, that started the whole thing. So
skip the meat, huh? Skip the meat.
And the beauty of the whole thing is when you're any crafts person knows, when you start making stuff, somewhere along the way you got to start selling something.
Right. Otherwise, you have a lot of stuff piled up there.
You have a lot of stuff and you're going broke. So I started doing that, and then shortly after that, we moved out to Winnipeg, and I joined a craft guild out there, and I got inspiration. And I came up, and again, you said, "Ask how do I do it?" Some voice came to me and said, "Start drawing," and I started drawing, and I came up with this angel, Gabriel, holding a trumpet. And the trumpet is God's messenger. And I did that 3-dimensional, and I had a little tea light fit in the back of it. So I made a bunch of those up, and boom, they sold like hotcakes. And then somebody came to me one day. She says, "Could you make one going the opposite direction?" I said, "Sure." And I thought, well, why not? She wanted two of them. She wanted to make bookends out of them.
I see.
I thought, well, why don't I do a different angel again? And the voice comes to me. Sit down, and I drew up this other one holding a hymn, holding a harp, which is Raphael, God's healer. The harp makes a healing sound.
Yes,
So I had the bookends. And then and then over the period of time, just every once I was trying another angel. I tried, I couldn't do it. And the voice says, "Sit down and start drawing." Boom, I drew. So that's where it all came from.
Just back up a second. You said the heart makes a healing.
The
The
harp.
harp. Oh, the harp makes a healing sound.
But that's God's healer.
Oh, I see. I see. So that's why the angel has the harp.
Right.
It's God's healing sounds or healing message. So I wanted to ask you, prior to starting the stained glass campaign or business, did you have any connection with the angels, or were angels a part of your background, just something that you always knew about?
I'm a spiritual person. I don't believe in religion. I'm not into religion at all. But I'm a spiritual person. I believe in spirits. I believe in angels, obviously. And but yeah, no, I wasn't what I call a religious person because of that. I mean,
Not even that. Just that. What was your relationship to angels? I mean, I've heard so much about the archangels.
Yeah. So it was just that first. To say, this lady gave me the angels, small little angels, and it just sort of grew. And
right.
I started to research angels, of course. I got angel books. I'm going back in the 1970s and 80s when angels were very, very popular. And there's all kinds of angel books coming out and everything like that. So there was a big conference in Hamilton, Ontario, where I'm from in Canada. And there was a 3-day conference on angels. Big thing. And
no way.
It was a huge hockey arena that the thing was in. And then they had some vendors down below in this stage for vendors. So I took my angel. I think, okay, I'm going to go there and learn something about angels. It's a great spot to learn angels. I got there, and I found out that I was the authority on angels.
You were the point person. You were the authority.
It was the strangest thing. People are coming to me asking me about, because I had all these angels, both full of angels. They're asking me all the stories, what the story means, what the angel means, and all of that. So,
yeah. And was your selling becoming really profitable? Were you able to leave your day job and make angels, and those kind of stories that we love hearing about?
I did it as a hobby for a number of years, and then I was a chief operating officer of a marketing board in Canada, and making very good money. And the Canadian government, the Ontario government, decided to downsize all the marketing boards, so the COO jobs became redundant. So they paid me for a year, and I said, well, now what the hell am I going to do?
Right. Yes. Right.
And she said, well, why don't you make angels? So I went to a jury. I went to a juried craft show. Took my angels to them, and I would love that. So great. I did the show. Made a whole bunch of stuff up. Go to the show. It was a 4-day show. I sold out by 1:00 in the afternoon. My whole booth was gone. I went home, made angels all night long till 5 in the morning. Slept for a couple hours, sold again. I did that for 4 days in a row. I sold out completely. So I thought, maybe I can do something with this. So then I went into another large jury craft show, and we did very well. We got it up to about, then there's another company opened up. They had rented a booth in the store. Mm-hmm. I was renting 2 feet by 6 feet wide booths up to the 6 feet high, and we would put our glass shelves in there and lights and that and all that. and I was in 23 stores across Canada. We got up to 35,000 angels a year.
Yeah, that is unbelievable.
About $950,000 in sales with 10
Wow.
employees, and yeah, and then I ended up buying a water jet cutter to cut the glass. It was a automatic cutting machine. I got
Oh,
10,000 angels. We were cutting them by hand, and I bought the machine, and we built that up to 35,000.
This took on a life of its own, Jack. If you
Yeah.
listening to it, the
Wait.
angels want it to be visible,
yeah.
be a part of this earthly plane.
And it was so nice too, because people would come into our booth and they, oh, isn't this beautiful? We love your work, blah, 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 blah. And I was in the corporate world for many years, and nobody ever came up to me and said what a wonderful job I was doing. Never.
Well, that's not the corporate, well, you're corporate Canada, corporate America. The same thing. Nobody gives anybody kudos for anything other than here, you didn't get your work done, or here's some more work to do.
So after I got busy, my wife was a hairdresser, and so she got to the point where she was helping me. And I got to the point where both of us did it. And then my daughter, she was just graduated from a design school in college, and she had cataracts. So she couldn't go to work. She was getting a cataract operation in August. Well, I bought this brand new machine, which needed AutoCAD work to program it all. Well, she said, okay, I'll work for you, Dad, until my operation. So she came and helped me, took all my designs and put them all into the computer, and designed everything. And then after she had her operation, she stayed with us.
I was going to say, I have a feeling she never went back.
Never went back.
Whatever it was that she was doing.
And then my son came, and he was helping working the machine. So then we had about 7 or 8 more employees after that, all working together.
So you turned this into just a business, a big
it was a wonderful business.
Or the angels made themselves into a business because they wanted. I mean, how many angels do you think you've sold throughout your career? Just taking a stab at it.
About 250,000 or more.
Maybe even more. I was going to say
probably more, because we were 15 years.
More.
50, more than that. Probably maybe 400,000, probably.
Right. Now, I know that you got away from making them all by hand and start using the machine.
Well, but they're still put together by hand. The machine was all the machine did was cut the glass.
Yes.
Everything else had to be done.
Right. And because I wanted to go back to that process you were saying as you were making the angels, you're totally focused. You're totally focused on what you're doing. And it sounds like working with glass, you have to be somewhat careful.
Oh, yeah. But when we were cutting by hand, it was very dangerous, because the glass is, when you break it, it's very, very sharp. So you have to grind the edges all smooth, and that. Where with the water jet cut, all the edges were already ground smooth.
Wow.
So that made it a lot easier to put them together.
That facilitated the process.
You still had to solder them. There was still heat. There was still melted solder. So
still work. Yeah, still work to be done. But I just wanted to ask, during that time, do you think you received even more information? When you're in that state of total focus, concentration on one thing, that there is that opportunity for other messages to come in. Do you think anything came through during those periods of time?
Periodically, Matt, again, like people will come in and just say how wonderful. Then people will come in and tell us their angel stories. And I've kicked myself in the rear end many times, because I should have written them all down. I got a terrible memory, but they would come this and say that they felt peace when they were looking at an angel, or they bought an angel. They felt peace. Mm-hmm. We had one article done with us in one of the local newspapers. They did a whole full-page article, my wife and I and my kids, and they took all my stuff, and they really spent time there. And they got the essence of what we were doing and why we were doing it, and it was a wonderful article. And there was that weekend, there was a 3-day outdoor show, and I remember the one morning I'm sitting there, and the early first thing in the morning, I could see there was a big field in front of us, and I could see this lady coming across the field right straight to our booth. I had a big my company was called Irish Images, so I had this big sign, Irish Images, above the booth. She came right into the booth, and she says, I read the article in the paper. I've got to have one of your angels. I said, okay, look around. I've got a big booth. I got lots of angels. I look around, pick the color you wanted, the design you want. And I went back. We had boxes for all my angels, so I was making boxes up. And she says, I'll take this one. Mm-hmm. She walked in, looked up, picked an angel. Boom, this one. This one called my name.
Did not look around at anything. She just
boom. That was the angel she wanted.
Right.
And it called her name, called her whatever she wanted. And I said, and people would do that. They come into the booth and look around and thought this one called my name. But,
yeah, it's like the angel chose them.
Yeah.
That they didn't have to wait to see what they liked. It's like, oh, the angel chose me. The angel said, you are the one for me. Or you are the one that I will be guiding.
I was up in Ottawa. We did this one road. You don't know the area. It's all Canada, but Ottawa's about a 6-hour drive for us, 7-hour drive. And I was in there one night. It was later in the evening, around 8 o'clock at night. And this woman comes up to the booth, and she's looking at the booth. She says, oh, I have to have one of your angels. She said, the angels saved my life. And they did. Said, yep. And she had been driving from Montreal to Ottawa at night. And it was dark, and this is the winter time, so the weather was kind of crappy. And she said she heard this horn honking. And she's out in the middle of the country. There's nobody around her. And this car horn is honking. And she couldn't understand what I was doing. And then she kept going, and the horn started honking again. Mm-hmm. So she came up to a truck stop, and she pulled into the truck stop, and she's just confused, and pulls up beside this truck. And this truck driver got up, and he looked at her. He says, "Good thing you stopped, lady." She says, "Why?" She says, "Your back wheel's hanging off." Her back wheel was holding on, but 2 nuts is all it was holding her back wheel on.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So it was the honking that made her think, why am I hearing this? And let me get off and see.
Yeah.
Wow. And did she have an angel in the car with her?
Well, she bought one.
You got to be kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Her car was the tire was hanging. So it meant her life was hanging in the balance.
Exactly.
Night driving.
Yeah. But and a lot of people would come in and how they had lost some loved one for whatever reason, and this angel gave them comfort, and they would buy an angel for comfort, or they were giving it to a mother who was sick, or whatever. There's all kinds of things like that people were the reasons they were buying them. But that was when I say when angels that back then were all about love and peace. Mm-hmm. And the whole world was love and peace back then. Now, unfortunately, it's not. It's
angels
too much fear and hatred right now in the world.
Yeah, maybe we need those angels to come back.
We need them back.
We really need them.
I think we'll see them back another short while.
And before we put the angels to sleep, we have some of your work, but before we show some of your beautiful work, I just wanted to ask you, what angel do you resonate? Do you have an angel that you resonate with?
Sariel's the angel. My Sariel angel that I did is the one I like best. It holds a tambourine, and it's an angel celebration. We call it the party animal.
Oh, is that you, Jack?
I'll tell you, there's a short story here. My wife and I have been doing shipping around. I had broken my leg at this time, so I was walking around too. And we had gone to all these stores we used to deliver to every week. So one day we'd gone around, delivered this last store. We were in Hamilton on the mountain. And this lady, we were just sitting there just relaxing. And this lady came walking by, and she looked at us and she smiled. She starts talking to us and asking us questions about the area and blah, blah, blah. And then we started talking about angels. And she said, we make angels. Oh, so I went up, my car was right there. I was grabbing, I sold her some angels. And she picked this one angel up, which was a Sariel, and had a blue dress with some ribbons hanging from it. And she says, oh, this reminds me. And she had traveled, very strange lady, she'd traveled all over the world. She spent time in Papua New Guinea, sleeping on the floor of their huts. And she was a retired minister, and she just traveled the world. This is what she was doing. So anyway, she says, she looked at this thing, and she says, I was at my friend's place in his church one time. And she said, he was giving a sermon to the children up front, but they weren't responding. So she said, I went up and I started clapping my hands and, and got the kids up, and we marched around the church. All of the group of kids got down again and sat down.
Breathing some life, bringing some energy to the place.
And then she said, this lady came up to her afterwards. She says, that was how wonderful that was. She said, you had the tambourine and the ribbons were floating from the tambourine and you were playing a tambourine, and she didn't have a tambourine. But my angel had a tambourine.
I remember. That's right. It's the party animal.
The party animal. And she said that angel. So my wife gave her a small little angel because she's traveling all over. And she told us, I'm going to be off track here, but she told us to go to this church in Toronto because I had broken my collarbones, what I was, sorry. But I had a motorcycle accident and I couldn't lift my arm up.
Right.
And she said, you should go to that church. So we said, okay, we'll take you down to down the hill, this mountain, down to the town, drop you off at your hotel. And my wife had given her the thing, and then we dropped her off, and she just got out of the car. And I said, we should take her to the Toronto with us tonight. We turned around and she was gone. It was 20 feet from the car to the hotel, and she was gone.
How do you explain that, Jack?
So we went to the church that night. This is quite a drive away. Went to the church, and it was just one of these ones like a healing church that everybody's falling over and they're groaning and moaning. And they were doing healing in there and all that stuff. And I stood there, and the hair on my arms just come straight out. The energy in that place was unbelievable. And I went home. We went home the next morning, and I couldn't get my arm. I had quarter shots on my arm. I couldn't lift it above my waist.
Wow.
I went the next morning, and we had this little place with a door, dining room door. We looked out onto our back porch, and I went like this.
Oh my!
And I said, Mary. And she says, you can't do that. And I says, I know. And she said, put it down. I said, I don't want to. Just put it down. So I put it down, and I put it back up.
It was a total healing. Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but a healing. Yeah. And this woman that told you that was like your angel.
Yeah. So.
Wow. That is amazing. That is amazing. And you would not, and as you said, you're not a religious person. You're not a churchgoer per se.
No.
So
I go to Unity Church, which is a church, but it's more of a
Unity.
It's more of a spiritual thing. It's not the dogma, thou shalt and thou shalt not sort of thing.
Exactly. It's a philosophy. We'll put it that way. It's a philosophy. It's not a religion. It's a philosophy on how to live your life, on offerings on how to live your life. Wow. Well, before, I was going to take a break, but I don't think we're going to take a break. I would love for Joe to start showing some of your angels. Or before we get to showing of your angels, can you think of a time in your own life that you've had to call on your angel of preference?
Quite a few times, actually. I think one of the ones, my wife, she was my partner. We did this for many, many years. And all of a sudden she got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer.
Oh, that's a rough one, Jack. That's a rough, and it's fast. The
one day, Sunday, I noticed her eyes were a little yellow. Her skin was yellow. Next morning, her eyes were yellow. We ended up going to the hospital, and they told her you get pancreatic cancer, you get 9 months to live. Boom.
Wow.
And I had read that back pain was the worst thing with pancreatic cancer. People get extreme pain on their back and that. So I prayed every night. I put my hands on her back, and I prayed. She only took an aspirin 2 days before she died. She took an aspirin for a headache.
That was it. No. Yeah. I can attest to that from personal experience. I had a brother. Well, I had a brother that died from pancreatic cancer. And it was just god-awful painful, Jack. Just one of the unkindest cancers. If
my
you're
wife,
going to have cancer.
My wife just wasted away. That's all she did.
That's it. You waste away.
But the pain was not there. She didn't go through all that excruciating pain.
So you felt that was a moment, or that was a time period.
Yep.
of allowing the angels to come through to assist with
I've had others. I'm not, I don't know if you have time, but
we have time.
I'm not a great, as I say, I've never had the religion part of it. I believe in certain parts of it, and I've always sort of, anyways, I'll go quickly. I went through a series of problems. After my wife died, I made all kinds of stupid mistakes, and I did everything wrong. I got remarried, and that didn't work out. I got a divorce, and I tried to kill myself at one stage. I overdosed on medicine and that, and I was driving back to my wife's grave, and I was going had a box cutters. I was going to I'm going to either die from the pills, or I had a box cutter to cut my wrist.
You were in emotional pain.
Oh, big time. And so I'm on my way back. I'm on my way to the grave. Well, my wife phoned me, and she said, "Oh no, my friend is we're going to call the cops, get the cops to come." She said, "You're going to do something stupid." Anyways, so I never answered the phone after that. So I'm sitting in this town, and I woke up, and it was night, it's dark, and I saw this flashing lights, and the cops are coming to get me. So I took off, and I went down this road, and I went in the country, like way out this little town. I knew the area quite well. And I came down the end of this road, and those cars all stopped there. And I didn't, and at the last minute, I just sort of hit the brakes. And I didn't realize I had automatic, power brakes. But anyways, so after that, I'm driving, and all I wanted to do was pull over and go to sleep. I was tired. I wanted to go to sleep. And I'm going down this road, and I just so dopey that I would go past the road, and I'll get the next road. Then I ended up on this main thoroughfare. Okay, I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to go back up to where my wife's grave was. So I got the next thing, and I'm going along the road, and I'm talking a super highway, four-lane highway. And I'm passing out, but I'm coming to every time I'm going around a corner or something. And I would come to, correct myself on the road. And this was going on. It's like 20 miles on this road. And the next thing I know, I woke up, I'm in a hospital parking lot. Now I had to go off the road through a couple other streets, around the corner, and into this hospital and into the parking lot. And the parking lot where I had been, it was my local hospital. My son was born there. And I'm in front of the emergency exit, the emergency entrance, sorry. So I walked to the front, and I said to the girl, I said, I think I've had too many pills. They called me or wherever it was, threw me down, pumped my stomach out, blah, blah, blah. The next day, I'm having a conversation with a psychiatrist. And he said to me, he said, if you'd been half an hour later, you would have been dead.
Wow.
So how did I get there?
Exactly. How did you get there? What is your explanation? Or have you given up on trying to find a reason? Is it really important? Is it even important?
It was the angels, Gabe. The angels were guiding me. They were there.
Yes. Wow, Jack. That's just amazing. And when you talk about, losing your wife to pancreatic cancer, and over what time period, Jack? You said they said she had 9 months.
They gave her 9 months, and it was 9 months exactly.
Yeah, it's one that goes fast. So, in essence, you had some time to be in that stage of what they call anticipatory grief, where it's going to happen, but you want to love them up. You don't want to let them go.
The whole time I was hoping that she was going to get better. She's going to beat this. Yeah. She's going to beat this. And in December, 1st of December, and she was doing pretty good. And we went to get her testing done. The doctor said, "Oh, she's, it's looking good. She, her counts are good, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Look, I want to go take her to Barbados in February." He said, "Well, let's wait for that one." Next week we went back. Her counts were totally out of whack, completely out of whack. And she went downhill, boom, and she died February 9th. She went down really fast after that.
What was her connection with the angels? Did she have a connection with the angels?
Well, she helped me wake them. Like she made her own angel. She made an angel before she passed away, actually. And I think I gave you a copy of it. It was holding a star.
We're gonna get to we're gonna get to
holding a star, and that was her angel of courage. She said it took courage to fight cancer, and the star was always follow your star. So
Oh, I love
she made
that.
that angel, and I put it into production after she passed away. And I
Mhm.
sold it. I gave 40% of my profits to the Canadian Cancer Society. And but one of our girls had breast cancer and had died. One of the girls that worked for us, and her best friend had breast cancer. So they were going to the Breast Cancer Society. She went with her friend to the breast cancer for help and comfort and that. So she had also designed a small little hanging angel, which was her
Mhm.
breast cancer with a little ribbon on it. That was her breast cancer angel. So the two of them under production. So part of the sales were going to the Breast Cancer Association, part of it were going to the Canadian Cancer Association, and we raised over $70,000
Mm.
through the sale of that angel.
$70,000, Jack. Wow, that is absolutely beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Um, I was just getting to the point though after losing your beautiful wife, that it sounds like you were truly in tremendous grief. And as you said,
Oh, yeah,
making decisions and
yeah.
yeah.
The day she died, she heard the last words out of her mouth were to her friend that had cancer. And last words out of her mouth was, "Find him a good woman."
Oh, oh, she didn't want you to be her concern was still for you, Jack. Her concern was for
Yeah.
you. Wow.
I said, "I have a good woman." She closed her
Yeah.
eyes, went into a coma, and that was it. She died 2 days later.
Peaceful. It sounds like she went peaceful, that it was a
I
peaceful
wouldn't say peaceful, but I grieved.
transition.
I went home with my daughter that night, and I just cried and cried
Yes, as you should, as you
and
should.
wailed, and yeah, it was awful. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
My heart's with you, Jack.
She
And
was
what's your wife's name?
Mary.
Mary.
Yeah.
So Mary's right here with you right now.
She's always
Telling,
around.
yes, telling, yeah.
I got to tell you a quick story. After she died, the week after she passed away on Sunday, and I went to the church that we were married in, or sorry, on Sunday, well, Saturday night, Sunday morning. And I went to the church we were married in the next day. And I'm in there, and there was a minister, and I had been in that church for years. And there was a minister up front, and this fellow up there, and I looked at him, and I said, "I know this guy." And I looked at him, and we had lived in Winnipeg years before that, and this guy and his wife were living there. He was a manager of an insurance company. And I looked at him, and I know this guy. And
Okay.
anyways, after the service, I went up to him. I said, "Brian, what are you doing here?" And he told me, he said that he had always wanted to become part of the ministry, and this is what he was doing. So the next Saturday we had a meeting with my daughter, my son and daughter, and minister and him about for my wife's service the next Saturday.
Yes.
And we had the service. It was a wonderful, wonderful service. I had a screen up. This is before they did it. I had a screen up with pictures of her flashing on the screen through the whole service. And at the end of it, I played "Proud Mary." That was
No, you're truly a party boy. I can see why.
it was good. But
Oh, thank you. Thank you
and
for
then
sharing
this one of our people that we used to ever do work on their angels. She comes up after me and she says, "Mr. Irish," she says, "that was so wonderful. Minister knew your wife knew Mary so well." She never met her. So then the next day, on Saturday, my kids came over, and I'm looking for the bills. My wife used to do all the bills for the house, and I did all the bills for the business, and I can't find anything. And we had this kitchen cabinet, and there's a small drawer in the top left-hand corner, and that's where she kept everything. Well, it was empty, totally empty.
Wow. How did that happen?
So where the hell did everything go?
Exactly.
My kids came over. I said, "Ted, can you help me find, the bills?" "Oh, Dad, they're in the corner of the drawer." They both went over to this drawer, empty, and we looked all over the place for it. So I don't like I got to pay bills, right? So
Yeah, right.
the checks were in there and everything was in there. Anyhow, so I go to have a shower the next morning. I'm in the shower, and this vision kid, it'll be my wife, and she says, "The checks are in the top left-hand drawer of the cabinet." And then the flash, boom. So I finish my shower. I go downstairs. I open the drawer. It's full.
Are you?
All, all the checks are there. All the bills are there. It's full.
But the
So
day before, it was empty.
it was totally empty. So I go to work, and my daughter was working for me. She comes charging and Dad. She says, I was in the shower this morning. The mom came to me, and the checks were at the top of that drawer. I said, I already got them. I already got them.
Wow, Jack, with that, let's just take a pause and breathe that in and just thank Mary's Spirit for always being here with you. That's what someone has, I've heard this from so many people, that our loved ones are always with us, that you can talk to them and be with them just as if they were in the room with you now. It's, I always say that death will be like, oh, just going from the living room to the bathroom. Suddenly you're just in another room, but you can still see and hear everything on the other side. Thank you, Jack. Oh, that is just truly touching. And I want us to have time, and we do have time, want to show some of your beautiful work. And if you want to talk about the inspiration of any of the angels as they, as Joe shows them. Joe, you want to bring up the beautiful work? Oh yeah. What about this one?
Okay, this is all the archangels. The middle one, right at the back, is Michael. He's the head archangel. Okay. Gabriel's to the left.
The green, yeah. To the green.
And I'm talking the blue angels here. The blue angels in the back.
Okay. Yes, in the back.
So Michael's in the very back. He's got a sword.
Yes, I see that.
The one to his left, or our left, is the Gabriel with the trumpet.
Yes. I see that now. Yes.
And then the one next to that is Sariel with the tambourine. You can just see the ribbons on the side.
Your favorite, Sariel.
On the other side of them, on the right, the first one is Raphael with the harp. And then the other one is Remiel. Remiel has a butterfly, and the butterfly is renewal of life and rebirth. Remiel is the angel that welcomes us to heaven. The wise men was a gift. I got a Christmas. I used to go to Japan all the time on business. I was there for a month at a time, and one of my friends sent me this Christmas card with these magi on it. I tried to draw it out many times, and one day the voice says, "Sit down and draw," and boom, that's what came out.
Wow!
And there's a tea light. A tea light fits behind every one of those angels, so they're
so it illuminates them.
You probably see the little light glowing in there. Yeah.
Yes, I see that. Oh, beautiful.
Actually, my wife made all the ones in the back. All the dark blue ones, the ones she made.
So she was an angel crafter, also.
Oh yeah. She worked. She did most of the work up front, getting organizing stuff and that. But she sort of looked after the production upstairs. Yeah.
Great. Okay, Joe, the next slide. Oh, is this the one your wife made?
Oh, no, that's our tiniest one. That one's called a cherub.
Oh, a cherub. Oh, a cherub.
And actually, my wife designed that one because this is going to sound. We used to make a small version of the archangels, and the body on this one was actually one of the arms on the archangel. And we used to make extra arms because sometimes there's striations in the glass and you couldn't use it. So we made extra arms. So we had all these little extra small pieces. So my wife came to me one day and she made this angel. She says, "What do you think of this?" We end up having to cut more glass to make those.
Wow! I'm just mesmerized by the fact of it looks truly intricate and delicate work.
Yeah,
I mean, they're small.
It's only about an inch and a half tall.
Exactly, miniatures. Beautiful. And this one's name? The name? Does it have a name?
It's cherub.
Cherub. Just cherub. Okay. Joe, the next slide.
And that's another cherub.
I think that's the same one. We're just waiting for Joe.
Color.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
not a cherub, right?
That's Sariel. Sariel's got the ribbons.
Oh, with the tambourine?
Yep.
I love the color.
I used to use an iridescent glass for many all of our stuff years ago, and it had all different colors, like a mother of pearl finish to it. And they stopped making it because it was very caustic. So I got it down here and I started painting the angels. So they're all hand painted now.
Oh, and this is a big What size is this? How
That's
many?
about 7 inches, 8 inches tall.
Oh, that's a good
And
size.
you see a little ring at the back on the one side. That's where
Mhm.
the candle fits back there.
Right. That's where you put your tea candle.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe, do we have another one? I know some of them we
That's
couldn't.
my brochure. That's what I read
Yeah,
off.
that's the brochure.
Right.
Okay. Okay. These are some of the other angels, correct?
But
That you make. Friendship series.
there's a thing I wrote on the Irish. It says, "Be they kings or poets or farmers, they're people of great worth. They keep companies with the angels and bring a bit of heaven to earth."
Beautiful.
This shows you all the different, and I've got Mary and Joseph we used to make separately, and all the different. The shamrocks, of course, were always popular.
Mm.
And you can see the story for all the angels is each one, and that's on each tag that we have on all the angels. We have a tag on them, and that story that's up there right now is a story that's on the tag.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that is what a collection! What a gift you are to the world, Jack! What a gift! You're bringing the angels to life and into people's lives. I really feel that you have just had the best, the best of life with working with the angels. I was going to say, is there anything else that you would like people to know about angels as we close?
I think through life we have to have something to sort of guide us along the way, and the fact I believe in angels and I believe in that, and I pray to them once in a while. And as I say, I've had experiences. I won't get into with Jesus and with various things in my life that helped me along the way over the years, and it just gives you comfort. It gives you something to think about rather than that you're all alone and you're all alone in the world. And nobody was going to help me. Blah blah blah. You poor me, poor me. And there's always something there. They're always there. I think, to me, they have a strange sense of humor.
I love that. I love to laugh.
No, they do. You think, oh, what's happening? Be boo hoo boo hoo, and something will happen, and it was for your betterment. You learned, you grew because of that. You may not have liked it, but it was good.
Yes.
It was
Oh, well. Yes. Growing and learning is uncomfortable.
Right.
It doesn't come from the times that we're in extreme joy and pleasure and bliss. Yeah, there's no growth happening there, but it's during those times of really sadness and needing to go inward for contemplation that we learn and that we grow. But just the beauty. I was just going to offer our audience, even if you have not thought about angel, I would call it angel therapy. Maybe do a little research on angels. Maybe take yourself on a date to go and meet angels. There's so many shops now that still sell angels or have
angels are always popular. They're always there.
Right. And I always like to offer different ways of helping us cope with our grief, helping us heal with our grief, or healing our grief. And if being with the angels is something that can bring you comfort, why not? Why not try it? And what is that? I can tell people do this, do that, but until you go and do it for yourself and see how you feel, see what your energies resonate to, and how it can bring you comfort, you'll never know until you do it. I have some friends. Have you heard of the violet flame?
Yep.
And I think it's Archangel Gabriel. That is the violet flame. And I never knew anything about that, but it was with some friends who that was their philosophy that they were following. And I could really just, when we would sit together to do what we call toning, it was definitely an energy present. It was definitely an energy present that wasn't there when we weren't in our session or calling in the archangels. Oh, and also, Jack, this reminds me, I just did something about a month ago, and you can always look it up, and it's called Hosting the Archangels. It's hosting the archangels, and it's all done from that spiritual point of view and that belief of angels or energies that really assist in our lives that we can't always see. And you invite them, and there's a little altar you make, you invite them in, and you host them for a week. And then you have other people that you release them to at the end of the week. And I could tell some magical stories with that. But yes, I just say give it a try. It's good to hear different ways of healing, different tools, if you want to call it that, different tools that we can use to heal, or just opening ourselves up to different possibilities and ways of healing. So thank you. Oh, and the other thing too, Jack, that I wanted to say, and especially with grief, knowing this for a fact, so many people talk about while in grief, how they feel so alone, and disconnected in the world. And I think that angel therapy, and I'm going to use that word, I'm going to stick with it, can help with that feeling of aloneness, because we really truly are not alone, however you want to see it, whatever your beliefs are, but you're truly never alone.
So when my wife passed away, she was my life. We've been together for years, and my children were there to help work with me. But the fact I was working with angels, and I was still making things for people to give them hope and to give them happiness and satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
That helped a lot. The fact that we were so, and as I say, I put her angel in production, and I was taking that along. That gave me a lot of satisfaction also, because those little angels that was going to the Cancer Society.
Yes, a little chokes.
Yep, I got a lot of response back from people who received one of those angels. Mm-hmm. So that was good.
Jack, just thank you for the gift of you. Thank you for the gift of you, and the gift of making the angels available to each one of us. So I am going to bring our show to a close. And Jack, if you stick around after the show ends, if you stick around, we can have a chat. Okay. But I just want to thank each person for listening today. And as I said, check out the angels. It's always wonderful to have another modality to help heal and to feel connection. And I just want to close the show today in the way that I always do. I want you to just go and look in the mirror. Just look in the mirror. Look in your own eyes and ask yourself, what do I need today? What do I need? Whatever comes up, honor that, because you're so worthy of healing and moving through your grief. So with that, thank you. And again, thank you, Jack, for your yes for today. And thank you for bringing the pictures of the angels. So until next week, I will see you later. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Namaste. Namaste.